Here we go. Hello, everyone, and hello, listeners in my community. Welcome back to episode number, 123 of Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up. I know I'm like an old hat at this now. Been doing this for a few years, and I still talk about the first day that they asked me to be a podcast host. And I said, no, thank you. And I slid the contract back across the table. And they said, we have like 31 million listeners. And I was like, sign me up. Where do I sign? And that was my first journey of having a radio show. And we were quickly in about 36 countries. And me starting something before I was ready led to me having an international company now, because I have women in Lead Up for Women all across the world. It's because I did something I wasn't ready to do. And that's a big leap that we have to be willing to take. Last week was the 3-day event that I've been talking about, the LEAP event, where I asked so many women to start before they were ready, to take a leap of faith in their business, in themselves, in their relationships, in their community. There are so many things in our lives that we're holding ourselves back from. Even if we think we're leaping all over the place and doing things that make us uncomfortable, if you ever stop yourself to say, I don't know if I'm really ready for that, just dive into it and start before you're ready, because that's where the magic happens. It happens in the outlying areas of things we're not ready for. So we're going to be talking a lot about that today with our guests. We have husband and wife team here, Sid and Liz McNairy. So excited to be interviewing them. But first, I have to promote myself because I just had a book that was released. I don't even have the real printed copy. This is the proof that I'm showing you. Step into the spotlight to expand your influence and attract the right clients. I have 10 authors that were included in this book. Y'all, we hit all kinds of records. We went number 5 and 5. We went number 1 bestseller for the day in 5 categories, including women in business, which was my favorite. We also went number 1 international in 5 countries, including Australia, Italy, Canada, United States, and Australia. And we went number 1 bestseller for the day in Kindle. Like, what? That never happens. I was like, what? I'm blown away. We could not have done this without a community. So your network is your net worth. I can't say that enough. Please surround yourself with the right people, with your raving fans, with the big mouths that are out there that want to tell everybody about you. Get them in your circle and keep them close, because this could never have happened without all of those people. So I don't promote myself that often because mine's all about interviewing and putting everyone else in the spotlight. But I'm really proud of myself and the other 10 authors for just digging in and having a purpose to share how you too can attract your right clients. Don't waste your time talking to people that aren't your right clients. You will find early and as an entrepreneur that you're exhausted. Why? Because you're trying to breathe life into people that don't want any breath in them. I promise you, don't do it. So I know that Sid and Liz are going to talk to us a lot about relationships, how to live, the peaceful living. So we're going to talk today all about that. But I want to do a formal introduction of them. And it is through empowering others, which Sid and Liz, I'm all about empowering women to run, very successful businesses. So it's empowering others that Sid and Liz have made their mark on the world. Practicing with McNairy's in the studio or on a retreat or in one of their signature workshops, they're able to take people to the next level. If you're a teacher, a student, an athlete, or walking the path and you want to take the opportunity to study with the McNairys and discover the warrior within. Ooh, I love that. Because I believe we all have one inside that's like dying to get out. So we really need to talk about how to bring that person out today. So everyone has tips that they can apply to their relationships, their business, and their self today. Liz is a counselor by trade and works with women and children to empower them to live their best lives. Sid is the architect of the art of peaceful living. There always needs to be a builder in the house. I get that. An international best-selling author who has lived 10 lives in one, like a cat. You've lived 10 lives. That's awesome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Colleen. And congratulations on the book. What an amazing accomplishment.
Thank you. Thank you. I have launched other books and had other projects, with other people, and they never hit those types of numbers. So it just was comforting to know that all the work that we've done in building a tight community and then having them show up for us when we needed it works. It just shows that the process works and why it's so important. So talk to me about the art of peaceful living. You know, if you're the architect behind it and Liz is like the heart behind it, how do these two things mesh together? And why did you decide to do it together? Were your paths ever separate in the past and then you decided to merge them? Take us on a little bit of a journey for us to get to know the McNairys.
Well, I'll start because you introduced me as the architect. And really that happened when I was coaching college football for 12 years and then opened up to looking for how to create peace in my life. You know, I went through several relationships, really 4 main relationships. As in the Native American custom, if you go through something 4 times, you get born into a new, and that's where I am now with my wife here with Liz and living a different life. And so going through all those things, the 4 vision quest, leaving coaching to become a world traveling yogi, an international best-selling author, as you said, and speaker. But what I learned along the way was I was truly the one that was in every relationship. So I had to go back and first shift that space. And along the way, I go from coaching college football to interviewing to possibly becoming a soccer coach at a high school. And when I walked in, they were offering me the job, so they wanted to show me facilities and get me to say yes. And they took me in this basketball gym, and there were a high school women's basketball team, all black team with one little white girl. And that was her. And so,
Way to go.
That was our first time where we crossed paths that I can honestly remember. She doesn't remember, but I knew I was in that gym and saw these people. And then, and I had to continue to heal myself in order to open up to where we were going. So we met every 7 years and then got married a couple 7 years later. And so she has her own experience of when we crossed in those 7 years, and I'll just let her tell that part.
It's always different from the women's point of view, isn't it, Liz?
Yes, just a slight different perception. But when you were speaking earlier, Colleen, about faith, that was just like speaking right to my heart. And my journey with our business, The Art of Peaceful Living, and really with my own journey of just living peacefully or trying to live peacefully, started around the time that I met Sid. Several years before that, my dad was diagnosed with cancer and passed away. And that time in my life, I thought was just, before that happened, was just perfect. It was easy. It was peaceful. But I wasn't really doing anything to make that happen. And during that time of experiencing grief and not having peace, I really began to journey deeper along the path of being conscious, being purposeful, and making that happen for me versus having it just happen. So that's when I crossed paths with Sid. I walked into his yoga studio. I immediately felt peace, and he was just this warm, welcoming person sitting there at the front desk. And he doesn't remember that at all. He's like, yeah, I remember I would see you in class every once in a while, but I don't remember that day that you walked in. And that for me was my day of crossing paths and feeling like, okay, there's something that's happening here. I don't know what. But it was really the journey for me of creating consciously peace in my life that began that day. So that's kind of, I guess, my side of the story of crossing paths and just beginning the art of peaceful living.
Well,
So
I guess that
big part that you didn't mention. I took a bunch of people to Nicaragua for a retreat, and she was on that retreat. And at the time, I mean, my friend they had this incredible retreat center. So they had like a lagoon where the ocean poured in and you could swim. Big fish didn't come in, just amazing. But and somehow in the midst of that, everyone got out of the ocean except for the two of us. And so that was the moment that we really got a chance to interact with each other and talk and sit there as millions of fish were swimming. I had so many fish get stuck in my shorts. It was just an awesome moment. It was crazy like that. And then later I had been, as I went through the journey for the next 7 years, The Warrior Within, A Quest for Peace is one of my books. And that is just about that journey and how healing from the person I had become to fit different parts of my life opened up to creating a reflection that I wanted to see. And that reflection is her. So,
yeah, I love that. And I should probably share that is exactly how I felt when I met the two of you at two different times in two different networking events in two different rooms. So I met Sid first, and I felt that way about you. The minute I saw you, the minute you opened your mouth, you carry an aura about you that's just comforting, loving, peaceful, kind, gentle. And I just was like, ooh, I'm really drawn to this guy because he's got a really great energy. And that's how we connected so quickly. Then in a totally different time in a networking event, I go into a room and there's Liz. And I was like, there's just something about her. I'm totally drawn to her. She's got this energy. Then I find out, wait a minute, is your husband Sid? And then it was like, oh, I totally get it now. They're living in the same house. No wonder why they have the same energy. But there was just an instant connection. And I think people tend to overlook those instant connections and why we're drawn to those energies. So let's talk about what peaceful living and relationships look like that we have with ourselves, that we have with others, because everyone's seeking for it. But Sid, I honestly don't think that people really get what peaceful living means.
yeah.
What does that mean?
I mean, peaceful living, and you're correct. Like, we get people come to our website and come back to our website, and now it's time for us to really explain what peace looks like, right? And for me, it's an inside space that is unshakable. Moments that I hear that people have anxiety, and I'm like, you don't have to choose that. You're picking that. Moments that as the world moves through the shifts that we've gone through in the last year and a half, I can still be at peace with those things. And it's a choice. And, I've sat on the mountains 4 days, 3 nights without food or water. I've done 10 days in silence. I've done a lot of different things to cultivate that. And so I think one big part for people, especially like next month I fly out to meet with George Washington University basketball team. They don't really want to hear peace is going to win for you, but they do know what it looks like when they're choppy in their delivery, when they're not in sync with one another. And that happens in all relationships. And so, especially with myself. And so the more I've cultivated that, the more I've been able to understand, here's the tools that got me here. I like to say, when we go through something, your karma is your dharma. Like, it really is giving me breadcrumbs that I can look back and say, oh, this is what got me here. And this is how I can help someone else see for themselves, because we all have to do the work. I'm not in someone's house, so they may have peace with me like I had peace on the mountain. And then they go back into the world and they're like, there is no peace here. Well, it's not anything other than myself, and really cleaning that up. So yeah, I think that's what that looks like.
I'm glad that you said that, because I believe that the belief and the faith that we have in our abilities and ourself really anchor in that peace. And it's work. It's not, you're not just peaceful one day. You don't wake up peaceful. There's a reason why you went away for 10 days and silence. There's a reason why you sat on a mountaintop for 4 days and 4 nights. If anyone's ever seen the show Alone on the History Channel, you will understand why people usually don't last out there and wind up going home, because they don't know how to survive by themselves and be at peace with who they are. They struggle with their own selves out there. There's no one else around them. but they struggle with them. And I went through that, Sid, and I'm glad you shared that story, because when I started traveling for corporate America and I was in a car hours and hours and hours a day by myself and traveling without people around me, I was like, I really don't like myself. This is like, I need to change. And I needed to become at peace with who I was and everything about me to really be successful, to be in a good relationship. That's why relationships didn't work. You said you were the common denominator in all those relationships. It's choices that we make. What did you want to add to that, Liz?
Yeah, I was just going to share my experience of peace is really just about being still on the inside, which I think is kind of what Sid was sharing. And I was smiling thinking about how you were sharing that Sid is the brains or the architect, and that means Liz is the heart. And when I think about peace, I also think about the gut and intuition. And I feel like it's the alignment of all those three components. It's the brain and our thoughts, it's our heart and our feelings, and it's our intuition, which is that internal knowing of this is who I am, this is who I want to be, this is what I want to do, and then actually doing it. And I think for a lot of people that there's some missing links, there's some holes in that chain of alignment. And I know for me, there was, and when I took the time to get still and become aware of those gaps and fill them, then peace started to follow. And now it's just the simple recognition and getting back on track. And peace is never far from that experience of life.
Yeah, I think, the unshakable peace that you discussed, he's like, yep, that's my wife right there. Yep, that's her. I love this girl right here. You guys have an adorable relationship, but you just have a deeper understanding. It's very obvious of each other, and you're connected at a deeper point, than some relationships are, because you're connected and understand and have faith and belief in yourself. That's what everyone doesn't understand. You have to have peace in yourself first, right? Before you can go out and expect to then have peace in a relationship or have peace in your success or have peace with your clients. So you said the word unshakable, and I talk a lot about that: unbreakable, unshakable, unstoppable, invincible. And when you said that, I was like, oh, he used one of my words. I love this, because your whole house could burn down. You could lose everything that materializes around you, and the two of you would still be at peace with your relationship. You would be at peace with your life. It's not the circumstances that surround us. And I think that's where the missing chain pieces are that Liz talked about, is too many people depend on what happens to them and the outside circumstances that actually become how they react to it, which in turn, that's what creates that it's the opposite of peace, right? So the craziness that happens in their lives, and they blame. There's reasons. It's about outside circumstances. Yeah, the pandemic was upside down, but what did you do to take that silver lining and create peace through all of that? How did you become unshakable through all of that? How did you thrive through all of that? And so many people didn't. Yeah. And when you ask those questions to the people that didn't, it was outside circumstances that caused why they didn't thrive. You ask anyone that did thrive through the pandemic, it was all internal. Their belief, their desire, their faith, their peace, their family unity, their people they surround themselves with. Yeah, for sure. So you talked about speaking, you talked about your book. Tell me how you work with people today. What are their top issues that they're coming to you with? Are they failing in relationships? Are they failing in their businesses? What's not working for them that they can't connect the dots? Because so many people out there can't connect the dots. And when you find that special formula and that like golden sauce and that nugget, then it's your responsibility to share it with everyone. And I'm assuming that you feel that that's your responsibility for both of you to do that. Right?
I want to give this one to Liz, and then I'll add because she's a counselor, so she gets children in, gets to see what's going on from home that is causing the dysfunction for the children, and how that opens up, because I'm always intrigued to hear some of these amazing stories with these kids.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the overall arching theme of what I see is anxiety. And with COVID, there's a lot of anxieties that have come up. It's the extreme thoughts of what if, and if I do this, then the worst is going to happen. And really, what I think COVID is bringing to light is just that thinking that people have for every aspect of their life. And now it's just become more commonplace or normalized to say that it's COVID, but it's not COVID that is causing us to have anxiety. It's what's happening on the inside. It's back to what you were saying about the success happens from within. So I see anxiety for so many different reasons. Some of it COVID, some of it related to just the discomforts, of feeling anything bad or anything negative. And it's like tapping into the growth mindset that just kind of reframes the bad or the negative to be a part of learning, a part of growing and development. And that's normal. We all learn from our mistakes if we allow ourselves the space to do so. So that for me is just that overarching theme of anxieties that I see most often.
Yeah, I totally
Yeah,
agree.
I'd say that I'd add, for me, I go back to just watching myself. I started playing sports at 7 years old. So studying myself for 40 plus years on that level of trying to reach extreme success in the name of winning. I had to learn about myself. And in many ways, when I finally got away from coaching football, I had to go back and say, okay, where did I lose? Because I was winning on the field, took several teams from losers to winners. I now coach teams, and when I do my job, I get a ring with them because it's in my contract. So it was like, all right, here's where I'm losing. Where is it? And it was really in relationships. So I get a lot of people now. I mean, they see us, people that I was in college with, they're like, dude, you used to fight all the time. And how'd you become so peaceful? It must be that wife. And I'm like, actually, I was here before, and that's why I have my wife, right? Like, I created a shift within myself that created an outward expression that I attracted to me. And so I love that people come to me when they just see an example of something they want in their own life. And often that looks like people in the dating game frustrated with everybody they go out on a date with. Now, every person in the world can't be the problem.
Oh, they are. They think they are, for sure.
Right.
They're not the common denominator in all of it. Right.
Right. And so that's been just a huge thing that I love looking at with people. A lot of times that comes down to their lack in an ability to hear the other person, their inability to communicate. There's no stillness. There's all these things that we work with people first before we say, okay, now that you're here, we can go out and find what you're looking for. So it's been an amazing journey for me. I was blessed. My adopted grandmother made me break up with someone, go home and create a whole list of things, and then shifted in me. And then this one came. So I just appreciate that, like getting to what I wanted.
How special is it that you had someone like your grandmother who bet on you? I had someone in my life who bet on me back in corporate America that really took me under his wing, that helped create who I am today and got me thinking and checking in on myself, because change happens within us first. If we want to see change on the outside, we have to master the inside. So we have to look at ourselves, change the things that we want to change about ourselves. We can't expect, which is what I did for many years and why I was divorced twice, was try to change everyone else to fit what that I deserved to be loved and wanted to be loved. And then all of a sudden what happens, but my husband that I've been married to now for 15 years walks into my life. Who is the best fit? It's the easiest relationship. We have the best love I've ever had in my life, right? But
Right.
that comes by my change first. So that's the first best tip that you've given us today is that we need to look on the inside first. And you had to make those changes in you for you to be able to find the right person for you, to live the life that you wanted to live. You can't look outside for those things to exist.
Right.
And let's
I have to say on top of that is, because I just want to make sure we don't pass this, is for me, once I healed on the inside, I had to trust that. Like I had to be like, okay, now your dysfunction in this space that we're here together with, I had to be able to look at me, and that's that unshakable peace inside, and let people go, that it's like, okay, that unshakable peace, you keep trying to challenge in some way, and yet I'm going to hold it by loving you enough to open the door for you to leave. Was such
I love
a big
that.
Such a
I love that. Yeah. And we lock ourselves away a lot. And I don't think people realize that. I had a girlfriend say to me once, were you born with that hard shell, or is that just something you've created over the years? And I was like, well, how dare you? That was not very nice to say to your best friend, but it needed to be my best friend that said it to me, because I didn't realize how hard I had become because I was protecting myself. And that's a normal human reaction, is to lock ourselves away and protect our heart. But what we need to realize is this cage that we're all sitting in, and we're waiting for someone to open up the door, right? For us to walk out. The handle's on the inside. The whole time it's been on the inside. So Liz, you work with so many that are locking themselves away with anxiety and all these things, which the pandemic, I know, has brought on so much uncertainty for people. What are some exercises that you give them, or advice that you give someone for them to be able to start making changes, to see from a different perspective?
Yeah.
Because I have some people I can send you.
Well, it's such a great question, Colleen. And what comes up, like, I have a very visual person. So what comes up to my mind is just this image of like someone having a temper tantrum. And like, you need to just sometimes sit in the discomfort and actually acknowledge that that's where you are. And I know that that was something that I had to do. And I'll always remember this moment in my life. A few years after my dad passed away, I had a friend whose dad died, and she was talking to me and sharing her grief. And I said to her, gosh, I can't imagine what you're going through. And she stopped and she's like, what are you talking about? It brought a smile to her face in the moment of grief. And she just said, you're the one who knows exactly how I feel. And I'm so grateful that she did that, because it was like an aha moment where it just helped me see that there was some stuff I needed to look at. There was this pain, this hurt, all these awful feelings that I needed to look at in order to move through them. And I think that a lot of people are kind of trying to press the fast forward button over all of the negative stuff. And when we just sit in it, that is when the true answers come for us. And that doesn't come from anyone else. I can tell you, hey, when you feel this way, here's what you need to do. Let me give you a prescription for a medicine, or even a prescription to say, meditate for 5 minutes, do down dog, do this, do that. But really just sitting with it and feeling and acknowledging is going to give you, and whoever that you is, it's going to give that person the key to what their next step is. And so a lot of my time is just with sitting literally or metaphorically through the stuff with people, and then holding that space for them to take the next step.
That is definitely the second biggest golden nugget that we've heard today, which is everyone is trying to find the easy way out and the way around the discomfort. But the change happens through the discomfort. You have to go through it to grow and learn and be on the other side of it. There's just no way around it. And that's just avoidance, trying to go around it. So I love that advice. Sit in it, because that's the hardest part, is to sit in it, acknowledge it, and work your way through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. That's great advice. So I know you guys work with plenty of clients. You said you work with women and children, Liz, and Sid, you're on the road. Are you still coaching today?
Coaching, when you say coaching, you're like
Coaching sports.
Gotcha. I actually work with coaches. And so I'm on retainer to sit in the stands, to watch people, to see their blind spots. No one really, unless you're the head, well, you're an assistant coach because the head coach is watching you, right? But no one is really watching the head coach from a standpoint of this is where you could possibly get better. Probably one of the greatest examples, I was sitting in a practice and just on the wall and watching. And I noticed that they were coaching one young man hard because they believed in him. Yet they wanted more out of him. But I noticed that once they would coach, they'd walk away to go coach the others, and his head was down. And I was like, Coach, I've got something for you, and take it or leave it. Yet this young man, he's depressed. And literally the day after I said that, he typed on Instagram, "You'll miss me when I'm gone." Mm. And they caught it, saved his life, and turned his life around. Now, I understand why the coach was missing. They're trying to get everybody ready. And so that I love doing that. I love knowing that I've coached so many sports and so many hours in that. I've coached, I've helped people, 3,000 plus yoga teachers become yoga teachers. And so I've spent 60 plus thousand hours on helping people reach that level for themselves to help another. So it's inspiring. It keeps me connected to basketball, football, baseball, lacrosse, like all these different things, soccer. And so I love doing that. And then I love to travel. So when a coach puts me on a retainer and they're like, "Hey, can you be here?" I'm like, "When?"
I love that. What an inspiration you are, and what a gift that God gave you to be able to see that. And that's what, inspired coaches are able to do, is see what you can't see, the blind spots. That's like the third biggest nugget we've had today, which is we all have blind spots. So what are you doing about yours? Who are you employing around you to find your blind spots? Because when you can identify what those are, then you're able to be that much more successful in relationships, in the peaceful living, in the business that you're running, the employees that you're employing. You become a better manager, a better leader. And we all need to know what our blind spots are, but they're called blind spots for a reason, y'all. You can't see them. So many people try and fix their own blind spots and they think they're figuring it. No, it takes another person from the outside. Just like I say, a coach, right? You're like in a frame, a picture in a frame on a wall and a house. You can only see what's in front of you, right? Your coach can walk the whole house. They see everything happening at all the times. You're only just seeing what's happening in front of you. And that's the way it is when you're running a business or when you're a leader or employing other people. You get to see the lay of the land a little bit better. And I love that that is your position to go do that, because what a gift for that gentleman. What a gift for that gentleman's family, Sid, that you just gave back to them.
Yeah. I mean, it's so powerful. Like, as you said, we can't see our own face. Like, as much as I want to look at you and see me at the same time, so I make sure I don't have boogers in my nose or whatever, if I'm really out there in the world, there is no way for me to see my face. And so I think that's just such an important thing. I know Tony Robbins said, if you are with a coach who doesn't have a coach, you got the wrong coach.
Yep.
And I have some intelligent, major people that were mentored. One was mentored by my dad. He went on to be this world-renowned scientist. And I call him all the time so we can talk. I have another mentor who's around my business, and he's a magical businessman. And so I call him, we talk about my business. And I feel that way. We haven't reached the end or we wouldn't be here. And I love having a great coach. I love being coachable and accepting coaching to elevate my life. And
Yeah.
I've got a coach next to me too that
Yeah.
isn't scared to speak up. So it's
My husband asks me all the time, why don't you know, because he hears me through the wall talking to clients and stuff. I don't know why you won't let me hire you as my coach. I'm like, oh, you're not coachable. I've been through this. I love our relationship more so than I feel like I need to coach you. You know, he has a coach. And, you know, it wasn't until I came out to the entrepreneur world. I was a coach for over 20 years in corporate America. I don't think he really saw the effects of it until I was an entrepreneur and he was around it. Then once he saw the effects, having my own coach, what that does for my business, and then coaching others is as an entrepreneur, that was when he really saw it. And of course, his business has flourished because he decided to get a coach. Even though I'd been telling him for years, he just didn't see it, right? And we all have to see it for ourselves. And now that coach shows him all his blind spots and I don't have to. So it's a win-win for all of us, you know? He's growing into a, you know, more peaceful with himself and making decisions. And that's the other thing, right? Because it's anchored by that peace. You're at peace when you make decisions because you trust yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Trusting yourself is a big piece of that. So please share with me, how can someone grab your book that you have available, Sid? How can they get in contact with Liz? Liz, I don't know if you're just local. Do you do counseling across the United States, across the world? Talk to us a little bit about that. Help us understand how we can reach you, how people can become more immersed in your community and really just in your presence like I have. Because once they get a glimpse of it like I have, they're just going to want to jump into the pool and be like, can I swim in your peace? I just want to swim in the peace, you know, seriously. It's kind of weird and goofy, but I want to be in the same lagoon as you, if it makes sense, right? Yeah.
Sounds great. And we would love to connect with everyone. We can share our website in more direct ways, but you can find us at www.artofpeacefulliving.com. And that kind of has everything that you can possibly find. You can connect to us and reach out there. You can sign up for a call with Sid or myself to get to know us and talk a little bit more about yourself. And we work with people all over. So we do virtual as well as in person.
And then also my 3 books that I have out, because one of them I pulled off the shelf. Yoga and Life Empowerment, Those Who Know God, and The Warrior Within, A Quest for Peace. All of them can be found on Amazon. My next book, In Search for the Perfect Wave, will be out November 11th. So 11/11/2021.
Nice.
And all of them, if you just go to Amazon and type Sid McNairy, you'll get to my author page, and then you can find the other books. There's a few others out there that I did collaborative books with. And so, yeah, that's a great way to pick things up. Like Liz said, artofpeacefulliving.com. I love scheduling a call because I want to know what someone's passionate about. And if you're not passionate at all, I may not be your person. If I can't, you know, spark something in that first 30 minutes that you're like, okay, I can win at life now. You know, if that, then go find the next person that works for you. You know, there's 7 billion people on the planet. Someone out there can help coach someone else to be motivated. And so this has been a pleasure. It's really like attracts like. And so I'm grateful that we finally had this call. And at first, I know it was going to be the 2 of us. It wasn't meant to be like that because this has been phenomenal. So thank you.
Absolutely. I would never leave Liz out. And I was trying to figure out how to get her on the podcast. And so that's why we made all the changes that we made, because you're right. It happens exactly the way it should, always does. And having the 2 of you here has been such a gift. So I want to invite all my listeners to go to the artofpeacefulliving.com. Check you guys out. Trust me when I say each one of you are going to want to swim in their lagoon with them. So please make sure you book a call. And everyone knows how I feel about free. You get on a consultation with someone. See if they're the person you've been missing in your life, because you just never know. And if you right now are not feeling the full peace and something's nagging at you and you just know, like Liz talked about earlier, we have intuitions. And if your intuition is pulling on you that you need to keep looking for someone to assist you, they might be the right ones. It might be one of their books that you read. It might be one of their retreats you go to. It might be a product of theirs that you buy. You just never know. It might be a phone call. and to get you on the right direction of where you need to be. You just never know what's going to happen, but nothing happens by accident ever. And so if you're feeling pulled, I suggest you make the call. And there's something that that you mentioned about, which was, that I want everyone to think about leaving today, which is don't try to get around the discomfort you're in. Sit in it for a while, right? Just pause. We're so busy. If it's one thing the pandemic gave us that I think is the most brilliant thing in the world, was pause for clarity. I don't think we all realized how busy we were. The pause for clarity has changed my life. It helped create better relationships, closer relationships with my kids and my family. And that's the silver lining I got out of that, and just the attention that we have, online. To me, I love it. It's great. And so take the silver lining of things and pull that with you in life. And if you don't know how to find the silver lining, that's why people like Liz and Sid McNairy exist. They help you find the silver lining, because that silver lining just became your blind spot. You didn't know it existed. So let them help you find it, right? So thank you guys so much for being with me today. We've learned so much from you. You are a beautiful couple. And I just want to be in the lagoon with you guys. So if you have a retreat coming up or anything going on, please let me know, especially if it's for couples. I'd love to bring my husband. We would love to be in your presence and have a great time. So
we have a surfing retreat. We teach everybody how to be.
Okay, because I don't know how to surf, but okay, I'm writing that down.
Right.
That's out of my comfort zone.
October 7th through the 10th. And it's so amazing because we start, I'm just going to give you our typical day. We start the day with, sometimes we'll go out for the sunrise. We'll meditate for a few minutes, stretch, not full on yoga, because I teach a pretty extensive class if I'm moving like that. And then we go spend time on the water, and it's a lot of downtime to connect. And it is great for couples, because when you're on the water, you're just on the water and you're learning how to be at peace with yourself, that ultimately is in peace in the group. And so it's just a phenomenal thing. So excited to share that with everybody again.
That sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm going to be going to your website to check that out. All right, listeners, thank you for being with us today and taking in all of this art of peaceful living that we were talking about today. And as I end today, I just want to remind each one of you, you are the only you that's ever been. You are the only you that will ever be. So how you pioneer your future is really up to you. It's in your hands and it's your choice. So make it a great day, be you and be strong. And we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye for now. Us.